Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am your host, Kimberly Cloud. So, before I get started, I'm going to clip this reel and it's going to be a 13-minute video. So, I want to pray to the one and only person that has helped me monetarily on this planet, and that is the USA government. Big shout out to the White House. You know, big shout out. So, let's get started with talking about what the topic is today. So, the Rhino, Idaho senators. What is a rhino? I will be all day talking about a rhino, but in other words, a rhino is someone who is more favored towards Democrats, but you know, they now they are Republican but favor Democrat views more. So Republican Mike Crapo and Jim Risch stated that it behooves Trump, yes, Trump, to do not reclassify marijuana as a lower drug. They don't want to Trump. They sent a big letter to Trump saying to do not reclassify marijuana as a lower type drug. Do you know what that would mean for a lot of people? Benefits, people that don't have to exist in the system of Idaho. That would mean more money in the Idaho's pocket, almost 50 million or more of earned money, people doing what they love to do. And it helps the traffic of smuggling and drug trafficking. It basically, who wants to get in trouble for smuggling marijuana across state lines and or drug trafficking? You can get charged with that. Almost everyone is doing it in Idaho, yet only a selective few is getting pulled over. The police cannot run a sting on everyone, but eventually they are watched, studied, and ticketed. I'm sorry, excuse me. Right on cue, Olympia. Um, I love you too, Olympia Washington. You don't have to keep calling me every time I'm getting close to the truth. The police cannot run a sting on everyone, but eventually they are watched, studied, and ticketed. On a bad day, they will just have you come to court and confiscate your stuff. On a crappy police day, they have the authority and they could end up arresting you if you test their emotion. That's anybody. How, like, think of a person that has power and you wonder how did they get there. It's very rare you find that if they're of power, unless you just hate them. Almost, let's see, I want Idaho to flourish without putting unnecessary charges on people who just want to elevate and innovate their lives. Not only their lives, but their grandchildren and their great, great, great. It goes infinite down the line. You have a child lined up, their lives, and how do you think it's going to be? You're never going to reach infinite. So let's just say Googleplex. How do you think the number before, which would take eternity, fit almost infinite, but you know, if you reach Google, Googleplex, like that one number before Googleplex. That's what I'm saying. Your grandchildren, where you think we will be right there? Where do you think we will be with weed? I mean, it does come from the earth. Where do you think? I'm all jokes aside, people are laughing possibly, but I'm like, it comes from the earth. It is a plant which has chemicals that bind to your receptors and make you feel a certain way. Now, you combine that with other drugs and you got a bad thing. I have to get on schedule. I'm almost finished, y'all. So, how many individuals would, hold on, y'all. How many individuals do you know who would benefit from mixing brain enhancement properties with marijuana to help cognitive functions? Hold on, you guys. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah, well, marijuana to help with cognitive functions. I'm a prime example. I studied myself on and off marijuana. I want to help Idaho by showing them performance and research that can be directed within technology in the future with marijuana. There are no limits. We are not even in our infancy stages. We are just in the beginning. Why would you let your state die without or with just 66% of your state with little technological advancement compared to other states? Where is the rest of the money going? Do some people pocket money in exchange for choking your state? People are putting unnecessary charges against people with marijuana. How much money would you be saving placing un like no charges on people? These are teenagers, these are geriatric, these are baby boomers, everybody. Unnecessary charges. Why don't you just go after the pedophiles? Or people that are combining alcohol and or other substances, slurring and know what they're doing, putting other lives at risk. How many individuals I study myself on and off marijuana. I want to help Idaho by showing them performance and research that can be directed within technology and the future of marijuana. There is no limits. We are not even in our infancy stages. We are just in the beginning. Why would you let your state die with just 66%? I said this already. Let me. It will be easier for someone who has a lot of money, like a Democrat, to fund not just your state, a Republican state that's kind of skittish in between Republican and Democrat. The people are Republican, but the higher ups are between Republican and Democrat that runs the state while some pocket the money. That is selfish. Who is paying you? So stick to creating laws and stop intercepting statements while pocketing Idaho citizen um, records. I am not mad at the police. They are just doing a fucking job. That is on God. Okay. So I said what I had to say. Some people don't like me cussing. This is my expression. I'm not the only one. I could see if I was literally the only one that was cursing. If I was the only one on the planet cursing, then it would be like, oh, why are you cursing? But if I'm not the only one that's cursing, then I just had to say that for a second because I feel some chemicals. Thank you. Take care. Be safe.